All right.
Well, hi, Boaz.
Hi again, Andrew. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. We're separated by what is it, two states? Something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we've got
We've got
Nebraska,
Nebraska between
Nebraska
us.
in between from Colorado to Iowa.
Yeah, but we're talking again tonight, and we're going to talk again about community in a dispersed world, at least
Right, right.
many of our worlds, and
Yeah,
how we fare economically. We're both kind of I'm trying to grow my business and in Fairfield, Iowa, but thinking locally, but also um, networking. And you are living in currently in Boulder, Colorado,
hmm
and looking at dispersed work in community. So I
yeah,
want you to share with us about that. And then, oh, I don't know, anything else that's sort of relevant to our community economics, friends, networking,
yeah. Another
being
aspect to this is family, which is
family.
challenging, and American families, and probably around the world now, of families spreading apart, but then at the same
Right.
now being able to use these digital tools to come together to some extent, and
Yeah.
how well it works and how well it doesn't work, and all of that.
Yeah. You still have to make a good effort to do it because I don't do it with most people. We did it a bit during the COVID years and Zoom came out and this thing that you'd saw on Trek, which was like video phone thing, finally was just there on our computers initially for free
Yeah.
and amazing. And anyway, um, so I just read your post about your job possibility in France, and so tell us about that.
Yeah, this is both exciting and challenging time. I've had a little over a year without a job now, and was at Radiosoft, and then the grants sort of started falling apart, and they laid off most everybody, and just a few people are still there. But I was kind of relieved in some way. I'd been pretty stressed out by the job, although there were definitely fun, exciting aspects to it and stimulating parts. But being dependent on these grants in and kind of switching topics so often was pretty stressful. And um, so I really, and I've saved up some money, and in the scheme of things, I mean, some people, in some sense, I have an expensive lifestyle, but in other sense, it's not that expensive. I'm not too crazy in my lifestyle, so I could kind of survive for a year on the savings that I had. Um, and I really enjoyed just reading philosophy, reading different areas of physics, and
Right, you did a lot of reading during that time.
yeah, I mean, my background is in particle accelerators, and I then got into these synchrotron light sources, and but I got really interested in quantum mechanics and foundations of quantum mechanics, and then consciousness, and kind of how consciousness fits in to physics. And it's getting to be a little more reputable, or a little more kind of mainstream, to ask some of these questions about how our inner experience, our consciousness fits in with the physical world, and it, does that manifest in some way in quantum mechanics and all of that. So I just had a lot of fun and was pretty excited about diving into some of that stuff. But at the
What
same time,
what's like
yeah.
what's like a couple interesting aspects that a layperson might understand about how consciousness and quantum mechanics interact?
Well, one way of framing it is that there's a so physics, if you take physics fully seriously and say it's kind of there's this idea of a theory of everything that you could understand the whole world and everything from your physical theory, and you have quantum field theory, and then there's atoms and quantum mechanics, and then there's you could think of scales, you could think of kind of going to smaller length scales to the then up to chemistry and biology and all of that. And there you could say it's a materialist picture to say that all there are is atoms and electric magnetic fields. There's kind of different aspects of physics that and then there's chemistry, and you can say that you might be able to reduce chemistry to physics. But So if you think that explains everything, I mean, our bodies are made of molecules and atoms, and our brains are neurons, and there's electrical signals being passed around, and there's neurotransmitters, which we have figured out their structure. They're these chemicals, and they diffuse around through fluids, and so there's kind of these ways of describing all the different aspects of the brain, and then the nerves send messages to our body, and we move around, and that's kind of all
That's
uh,
chemistry, neurotransmitters in your brain.
chemistry. Yeah,
But it's also electrical.
and there's
It
electrical. There's
sends
the
electrical
nerves have
signals.
these sodium and ion channels, and kind of it creates a message down the nerve by passing these ions through it, and so you could say that it's all physics and chemistry, and so then you wonder, where does where do our thoughts fit into this? Where do our feeling? What is it to have the feeling of pain? What I mean, these are very old questions that have been asked for millennia. The This is kind of the mind body problem. How does the our mind and how do our body relate to each other? And but the more powerful science becomes, as you start to be able to build up these models of, I don't know, mitochondria and microtubules and all of these different chemical phenomena that make up a cell. We have our cell with the cell membrane, and then there's the nucleus, and we know so much, and it's this mechanical models in some ways
Is it
of it.
is it like if we knew where everything was and what everything was at the beginning of the universe, we could predict the entire rollout of
Right. I think,
everything?
yeah, that's Laplace. Laplace's
Okay.
determinism that
And it just seems so not true. I mean, even on a 1 day basis, it's hard to predict much.
it's true, but you could then the picture was okay, maybe it's chaos that prevents it from being predicted, or so yeah, you could ask those questions, but I mean, we have our experience. I mean, we know what it means to have a thought, we have a feeling, we have desires, we have impulses, we want to, I mean, my arm is moving, and I'm making it move, and so there's the question of free will. So there's this whole kind of set of questions around how our internal world that seems is very real, and just it's bad philosophy if you kind of don't take your inner world seriously. That's terrible. But that's materialism, is the saying that all there is in the world is just the material, just these physical things. But
And
then
that
you could
have interactions that
that
have
have their
any
interactions
physical
that are described
interactions.
by physics. You have a Hamiltonian, you have Maxwell's equations, you have electric fields moving around, you have this whole set of theory to describe it, and it
Well,
works.
okay, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
How is an electric field a materialistic view? Because you can't physically hold an electric field, right?
Right,
It's a
right.
wave, it's an energy field or something, and it's a repulsive or
No, it's
uh
it's a
pulling at
field
you.
that causes charged particles to, it applies a force to, so you might say, yeah, whether that's material or not, but in any case, it's not. it's an external thing. You have a capacitor that has charged plates, and there's an electric field in between. I mean, so is it conscious? Is there kind of a feeling associated with this electric field? I mean,
Okay.
normally we think not. You know, we don't think of rocks as having feelings in them. So how is it that our own sense of experience and existence and kind of comes out of, I think it was maybe Ruth Kastner said it in terms of, if we think of the physical world as dead, how could something alive come out of something that's dead? And
Right. Well, you can look at that in the natural world with like tree leaves falling in the fall and then they're dead, but then
hmm,
they compost and then they feed the soil for the spring.
right,
So exactly, there's something life that comes out of the death of the tree leaves.
right. So that's, and maybe, and our plants are life, and do they have a kind of consciousness? Is there an experience associated with them? Um,
Uh-huh.
And since Rene Descartes, who kind of separated out matter from mind, that's sort of been our modern way of thinking about things. That you have mind on one side and matter on the other, and there's no connection. And that was sort of successful in a certain way, but it's also limited and it's caused a lot of problems. And it's just very clear that that can't be the whole picture, because how does it interact? I know I'm in my body, I'm wanting things, I'm feeling things, and that's interacting the way I'm speaking, the way I'm moving. And so there's clearly is a mind body interaction. We just don't have great theories about it. And so I really found that question fascinating. I'm not sure
I
there's
see.
many answers.
So
There's no real answers to it
this was
still.
posed, but getting back to the interaction between, you say, consciousness and quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
For me, okay, again, I'm not trained in this area really, but my take of quantum is happening um, sort of beyond the scope of the what's it, the speed of light. Like it happens immediately in different
Mhm.
places in the universe, or it happens in different places in on Earth. Like a thought might be transmitted immediately without having to be spoken. It might just be in the ether or something, like some kind of like magical diffusion or something. That's sort of how I view quantum.
Well, there are some aspects of that that are established. The
Okay.
kind of the EPR experiment, the Bell's theorem, and ways that particles can kind of, if you have an entanglement, if you have
Yeah.
some particles that are entangled with each other, then there's correlations between them, and they could be very far apart. And if you measure one of them, then the other one you immediately know what the other one will be. And even though you can't actually send messages, there is a certain kind of action at a distance between these.
Yeah. Right.
Um, so that's an interesting aspect of quantum mechanics. And then the aspect of kind of uncertainty and possibility is another area. Like a,
Ah,
an electron in a hydrogen atom doesn't really exist anywhere. There's just kind of a possibility of it, but then you measure it, and or something happens and it shows up at one point. So it's this
okay.
kind of interaction between the possible and the actual that's
Right.
very interesting. And
When you photograph it, when you look at it or
yeah,
measure it, then you have to force it to take a position.
force
Okay,
it
I'm
to
here.
take a position. And
Right.
there's, yeah, lots of you can have an radioactive atom that's emitting something, and then you've got all these absorbers around it, and in some sense any one of them could absorb it, but only one of them, until it happens, only one of them absorbs it. And how to describe that, how this measurement uh, problem or question is, there's still a lot of open questions, and there's many different ways of viewing these things. And so that's really exciting to me is that even after 100 years of quantum mechanics, there's still a lot of action and interest in hasn't been a consensus in how to view all this stuff.
Okay. Well, um, let's move back to the community idea.
Yeah, so we
Um,
got a little bit on the sideline here. I was explaining some what I got excited about, some of the reading I've
okay.
done during the last year, but I mean, it's a little more reputable. It's a little more close to you can there are more people researching foundations of quantum mechanics now, but in any case, it would be hard for me to get a job explicitly doing that. I was even sort of excited about getting another PhD in philosophy or something, or joining one of these institutes that are studying
Hmm,
these things. And who
interesting.
knows, maybe some way I'll end up there, but I need to get a job, and I'm trying to get back to my expertise and areas I have a lot of experience in. And so I've been looking into jobs, and I have found a possibility in France at the Synchrotron Soleil, and
Synchrotron Soleil.
that's 20
Synchrotron of the
kilometers.
sun.
What?
Synchrotron of the sun.
Of the sun, yes. And it's just 20 kilometers south of Paris, and
Uh-huh.
it's the national synchrotron of France. There's two synchrotrons light sources in France. The other is in Grenoble that we visited when we were there a few months back. That's called the ESRF, or European Synchrotron Radiation Facility, and I worked there for 8 years. In about 8 or 9 years ago, I'm forgetting exactly which year I ended, but I had a position there, and then that came to an end, and I couldn't get a permanent position. So at the time, I was not going to be able to work anymore, and so I looked at other jobs. I found one in Germany, and anyway, I found this job at Radiosoft and came back to the US and lived in Boulder. And now it's been 8 years, 7 years at Radiosoft, and then an extra year off. And now I'm
Sabbatical year.
sabbatical year,
Yep.
trying to figure out what to do next. And so I'm thinking about this question of whether to go to back to Soleil, and there's an open position in the optics group, and I've had some discussion about that, and I it's not definite yet, but there's a good chance if I want it badly and I do a good job in the next phases that I could get this position. So I'm thinking about it, and but it's also very heavy because then I would have to move. I would move back to France, and um, then I leave behind my community here in Boulder, my the co-housing community, and I'd have to start
Right.
over again in Paris. I don't know very many people there. I could live in the city. I could live in one of these other smaller towns, but I mean, I speak French, and I could, so I have a good start there. But anyway, lots of questions about it would be a lot of effort to build a life there again. I do have friends in Grenoble, and they're a 3 hour train ride away, so that's a start. But anyway, so I think about also how do we keep in connection. I mean, we're doing this Zoom call, so we could keep doing that. Once you establish these
We,
ways of being, we could keep doing our,
we do it at 9 in the morning my time and like 8
yeah,
at night your time or
that would
something,
be
right?
15, that would be 3 p.m.
Oh,
9 to
okay.
8 is, oh no, you're 1 hour
7 p.m.
forward, so you're in Central. So it would be 7 hours later. So
7 hours. Okay, so
16
9 would be
is 4 p.m. So
3,
if it was 9 a.m. for you, it would be 4 p.m.
4 p.m. Okay, that's
in
yeah, so
in
that's
France.
workable.
Um, and I do
I,
that right now. I have a few different
yeah, a few
people I
people.
talk to in Europe. So
Yeah.
so that's possible, but anyway, so yeah, it just raises the larger question about people moving around and how to
Right.
how how we live our lives in this complicated world today, and
Yeah.
people you make friends with and commune with locally versus the people you keep in touch with, and how where is this all going? How do we it sometimes feels incoherent and crazy, and yet it also there's great conversations between other people on YouTube, and
All
there's
right.
a lot of
But you have to make
cohesion.
a lot of choices to because we only have so much time and focus and stuff. And
Right.
so it's like we have so many ways to communicate, so many people we can communicate with. And I've done a pretty poor job at keeping up with people I've met on trips and different places. And I'd like to do better. I see the value in both for friendship and for um, networking for all sorts of reasons. It's good to
Hmm.
keep up with people, and I'm trying to do it a little bit better. But yeah, in this dispersed world that where we know people all over, I don't know, that's one of the topics that we're trying to figure out where is your community? Um,
Right.
where's your economic base and economic community? Like how much time and money do I invest in something? Is it I don't know, there should be some kind of either social or economic payback or something because we can't be all things to all the people we know.
Right. It also raises political questions, like is there another kind of a political structure that could emerge over time?
Yeah,
Is the nation state kind of not the correct
passe.
structure anymore? Uh,
It's not modern enough anymore. Or is there a more yeah, that's a good question. We could ask AI, I suppose.
we could. I mean, I think
Think
there's
would
some ideas around that, but anyway, I mean, yeah, we were going to talk about this. I'm not
yeah.
sure I have a
I mean
framework for it.
yeah,
But we're all living it. We're kind of experimenting with it, and um,
right. Some
if
people are quite good at that, the all the social media stuff and keeping up with everyone. But then you go out to kind of a public place like a diner or a bar or something like that, and maybe half the people are staring at their phones.
right, 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 and they're not connecting, and but yeah, so we need some real connection and ways of connecting with our neighbors and local community. I think I think you need like we've been in this weird in between mode where you're kind of halfway in the place you're living and halfway disconnected. I think we need kind of to strengthen our connections to the place we're living, and then
Hmm.
maybe have kind of stronger than connections between communities or kind of
Yeah.
ways of connecting. So Nyland to Fairfield and uh,
Yeah, because you have like you have a brother there, so and a mother, and now a second brother here, so you have a
right,
natural affinity to be in touch with Fairfield. So maybe you'll learn a little bit about what's going on here besides just the family that you have here. Um,
right. Um,
but you were saying the other day how like community doesn't have we don't all have to be local, but we should know something about them, where they're from, have more of a connection with them so that I don't know.
right. You're not these very loose ties where you're kind of on social media and you have no idea where they are, and that has I mean maybe there's some benefit from that, but there's been a lot of
Anonymity
harm
and
from that as
knowledge
well.
and yeah, sharing knowledge. I mean, yeah, exactly. It's like there's so much is now possible with knowledge and making media and communication. it's like mind-boggling. I don't, but I tend
But
to
yeah.
just do I don't tend to be on social media that much, but I know there's a value in it.
Well, different, I mean, people can, I still think there's a need for another kind of software which that can kind of facilitate community more, local community more. Like we have this next door, but
Yeah.
that's been kind of toxic as a
Is it
medium.
commercialized
Yeah,
next door?
it is a commercial. I mean, it's kind of like these other companies. I don't know how
Is
they make their money, but
I've been getting emails from people who are on Alignable.
oh,
Do you
okay.
know that one?
I haven't heard of
And they
that one.
say, so and so wants to be your friend on Alignable, and
Interesting.
it's
Okay.
and I don't know.
Well, I haven't heard that one. I mean, yeah, it's a real mixed bag. I mean, they're doing some terrible things and they've been very dishonest and they've facilitated political breakdown and political violence at times and a lot of
Uh,
misinformation. At the same time, they've pushed the technology forward and I mean, it's kind of amazing. I just wrote this post about my questions about my job situation, and
yeah.
it was very effective. It was really great to.
Effective in what way? It was
I
effective in the feedback or
in
what?
keeping people that I know in the loop.
I
Uh,
see.
so
Letting people know.
I got 25 people liking it or comment or
Making
appreciate
comments or liking it or viewing it.
viewing it and
Okay.
and
So it's a good way to kind of do a report on what's
it
going
kind
on with
of
people.
lowers the distance to me. This it's kind of like, okay, am I going to go to France or I'm going to stay? It maybe in an earlier age where you would have had to take a ship uh, across the
Okay.
ocean, it would really be like such a different world. Whereas now I can instantly communicate with people in
Yeah. And
there, and
you could like put your finger to the air. What does the room say?
yeah, what's
What
the
does the
room
weather
saying? I mean,
say?
I'm not, it's not, it can just at least, so it kind of brings people together and makes it, I don't know, it's a helpful thing and it does get out. I mean, all the people that responded, it was all very meaningful. People that I've known in the past and that do know about my situation. And with a pretty short amount of time, I could bring a lot of people I care about up to speed with what I've been thinking about. And just the process of writing it is helpful. So that was felt like a helpful use of Facebook, even though sometimes they're showing me things I don't like, and there's ads, and
Well, of
there's
course.
a lot of garbage as
Right.
well. But
But yeah, I thought it was an effective post as well. It's doing what you say. It's like letting everyone know where you're at. You're getting feedback very quickly from people
Mhm.
all over.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Yeah.
Um,
My community I could talk about for a minute.
yeah.
Um, let's see. Well, it's getting colder here,
Hmm.
and so we had some snow. Um, my business, which is kind of a big part of my community, was we had some jobs that were done by other people that came through my business, and we got a new truck. So I used it once. My kind of business collaborator, business partner, he used it. And so we're sharing tools now, sharing a worker as well,
Hmm.
and jobs as well. And I'm trying to have the attitude like, well, he got this job, and I'm going to be supportive and happy for him because there's plenty of work for both of us.
Hmm.
And I could have like tried to be competitive with him because there was a job that either he could have got or I could have got, and he got it.
Hmm.
And we both actually put in a bid for it,
This
and
is
he got the job.
another arborist in town.
Well, no, he's another tree service guy. He doesn't have his arborist license,
Okay.
but effectively, yes.
Hmm.
Um, and he got the job, and he's using my chipper. And other than that, I think it's mostly his own equipment. Um, and but then I went out there and looked at it, and there's one part of it that he wants my help on. And we were talking about the logistics, and he's going to throw me a little money too. And um, anyway, so I'll make something on it too because I'm going to do a little part of it. Anyway, I'm just feeling like it's way better to cooperate and try to help each other and get tools that we can both use, and then try to be competitive and try to like think of it as like, oh, there's if I don't if he gets it, that means I don't get it anyway. And so that's my attitude, and it's generally working. There's enough work, it's actually like less stress on me that I don't have to do everything.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to kind of have community just be easy as well, friends and family and potential love interests and all this, just kind of like be easy about it and let it let it kind of come, but like make a space in my life and in my house for friends and guests and stuff to be here. And it's going pretty well. There's been some good kind of sharing and friendship and food sharing and music and things like that. I'm kind of somewhat recently single, and so kind of looking for having more of a social life. And since my love life is not happening so much right now.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Hmm.
um, that was a bit of a ramble, but that's kind of where I'm at right now.
What is the winter looking like? Because your business always slows down during the
Yeah,
winter. So,
well, tree work slows down. I'd like to take a trip. I've got some ideas on where to go, and probably can afford a small trip. But other than that, I have a workshop, and I can do some kind of woodworking. I can work on tools. Um, and there's probably a little bit of paid work that will come my way, and just kind of a good time to explore other things and other interests and rest and hang out by the fire and I don't know, consume media.
hmm. Okay.
Um,
What are some of
but
the things that happen in Fairfield over the winter?
there's lots going on. It's a pretty happening small town. There's like some stuff with sound healing that's going on lately that I'd
Hmm.
like to plug into. Um, we have a convention center where they do shows. There's an indoor farmers market and crafts fair kind of things that go on. Um, sometimes I watch the city council meetings on YouTube,
Hmm.
and hopefully just some fun gatherings and playing music and working on equipment and getting things more solid and ready to go for next year. It's been a crazy year for me with my business, and
Hmm.
we've made a lot of growth and happenings, but things are a bit messy, and so I could kind of refine it and get equipment working a little bit better for next year. So that's in a nutshell.
Hmm.
But the future is unknown. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna be here the whole winter, if I'm gonna go somewhere, or I don't know. There's so much that feels a little bit uncertain, but just also feeling like I'm doing what I can to be grounded and take care of things.
Hmm. Well, if there, yeah, the do towns have kind of regular, are there rituals or festivals that happen through the winter to kind of give us a sense of passage of time? I mean, that's what a lot of the religions have had, kind of something in the it's Christmas or solstice or
Yeah,
Hanukkah, and the
right,
different kind of events through the year that give it a structure and kind of provide a sense of passage of time and connection to the seasons and all of
right.
that.
Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like we're in this era where we're like we can invent things that feel right. Like I don't feel like, the holidays are as meaningful me to me as they could be, and so we can make new holidays or just make them more meaningful by,
But how do you
doing
do that? Because it
do
needs
that.
to be a collective action. And I mean, you can have your own personal rituals, but there's
Yeah.
definitely power in people having shared meanings around different
Right.
times and
Well,
rituals. And
I don't know. I'm a little stumped on that one. I do hope to gather people together for food, music, social things, and be part of a little bit of that. But
well, we
um,
had Christmas growing up, and we had Hanukkah. We'd go down to LA, and
yeah,
but those have both kind of fallen apart, unfortunately. The
right.
group that would celebrate Hanukkah in LA isn't really together. They're not
Well,
really
we
doing
haven't, at least myself, I haven't been plugging in with them. I don't know when it quit,
right.
but
But I don't
I feel
think
like
there is a,
we're all part of letting it go. But I mean, things change.
yeah, but it's what replaces it. I mean, there's, I think it is a time maybe we need to recreate things. There have been
Yeah,
rituals and then yeah, the Christmas that was often dependent on getting together with our stepmom, and that we haven't really. That's fallen apart to some extent, and so
well,
we're not.
sure. We don't, yeah. Our father passed away, and we're all adults, and just family dynamics shifted and all that.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, here at Nyland, they talk sometime about the different events that they have and trying to find common events and build traditions. And I'm really interested in that. But then I feel like that's partly my reluctance to go to France right now is kind of like
yeah,
I have to try that again. And I would be landing in a place where I don't have any sense of ritual or yearly
yeah,
routine and have to build that again. And I mean, here I don't totally have it, but there's some foundation for it that's a little
yeah,
easier. And if you just keep moving, then
yeah,
there isn't a sense of history or rootedness to the
yeah.
past that doesn't feel so
Right,
great.
right, right. Yeah, and that's another kind of related topic is how we keep our history, both personal and country and everything, kind of alive. It seems like we live for
Right.
the moment in so many ways, and I mean myself included. I can't remember everything, and things are shifting so quickly. It's hard to feel the the line that I'm a part of and the history of it. And
Right.
I don't know where I should be. I'm here now, and it's okay, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm Iowa. I'm
Well,
like,
how do you do that? I mean, how do you connect to history or build it or what draws you to kind of how do you get roots? That's something
how do
I've
you
thought
get
about.
through?
What does it mean to have roots and how do you grow new roots in a way?
Tie yourself to a tree with roots.
Uh-huh.
That's a line in a Bob Dylan song.
Okay.
Because you ain't going nowhere.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, trees are not mobile, but
Mm-hmm.
they can send out seeds. But then they get
Right.
cut down. I
Right,
don't
but
know.
they
They're trying to
last for a long
survive.
time. I mean, the other
Right.
uh, something I thought about, I when I was moving back and forth and moving from France back to the US the other time I was reading a lot about and thinking a lot about this question of roots, and I was thinking, what do roots do in addition to um, holding you in place, holding the tree in place? They also that's how the tree gets its food. So the nutrients come into the tree through its roots, and so to have roots means that you have these kind of ways of getting nutrients or ways of getting nourishing things. So, like me being here in Lafayette or Boulder, I have like my art community and the movement mass dance on Sunday and kind of these different things that you do where you connect with people and sort of ways of connecting with your community that then give you resources, I think are one way of talking about what
A good
roots
way of
are.
putting it. Roots not only are structure and grounding you, but they also give you nutrition, or they give you sustenance.
Right, right.
And that's true. Our community is just today, like I shared food and people shared food with me, and I got I got a box of apples from a friend of ours, and then shared a meal with somebody, and somebody's people have tomatoes and they're sharing them. So yeah, my connectedness brings me food. That's just one
Mhm.
concrete thing.
Yeah, yeah. So if I go to France, go to Paris, I don't really have roots there at the moment.
Right,
I would be pretty quickly embedded in the synchrotron, and that would be pretty good and sort of a kind of roots in a way of the work
right.
there and the
You
science.
have you have like an ecosystem, as you like to say. And
Yeah.
I've really adopted that term in my thinking, in my discussion of community too,
Yeah.
because it's an ecosystem. It's the matrix or something.
Mm-hmm.
And like one thing that I realize is that we can't control everything, but
Mm-hmm.
we can kind of help set up a situation in a
Right.
way that
Right.
fosters a certain kind of connection and behavior and, good things. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do with my life and with my business is create an ecosystem that fosters the kind of economic, environmental, social benefits that we all want.
Mm-hmm. And do you think there's so you've described some aspects of your life there in Fairfield that are a bit of an ecosystem. There's and
Yeah.
so you kind of keep working at it and you see there.
Yeah, it's just like the background philosophy. It's just the background part of the philosophy of almost everything in my life, but
Hmm.
especially my business and then also my social life to some extent.
Hmm.
But mostly my business, like this, I need um let's see. I need a way to move logs better. And along comes someone with a trailer that can help me move the logs. And there's just, okay, let's try working with this person and their equipment. Well, okay, that time didn't work. Well, just try in a different way or another person. And some people you can't work with or whatever. But
Hmm. Hmm.
just like things that, things that you're looking for other people have, and then you can basically get it for free by just being collaborative, by working together, by helping each other out.
So you're building a commons because they talk about the opposite, which is when it all falls apart. You got the tragedy of the commons where people
Yeah,
just take the stuff in common. But if you work in a with goodwill, and so you're kind of actively creating a new commons in a way.
that's an interesting way. I didn't think of that term, but yeah, I guess you could say yes. I'm trying to create a commons. Like we're sharing tools, we're sharing space, we're sharing work, we're sharing workers.
Hmm.
Um, and it's certainly not perfect. And there we got to have there's a few issues we got to discuss amongst the group of us.
But so what
Um,
is it that allows that to happen? How how do you create a commons? How do you create you say you're getting things for free. So what is it that's motivating people to join in? How do you create the circumstances such that people want to give more and create this?
Well, I think one of the ways that I've done it, is that I have a physical space
Hmm.
that people can congregate at. It's central and it's a place they can store tools, meet up, hang out even. Like sometimes a couple people go there and they piddle around and make a fire in my a double barrel stove and
Hmm.
just kind of hang out. And so it's not always work. People can hang out and do this and that there too. And we also have lots of different kind of tools and tool benches and things. So that there's fixing, repairing, cleaning chainsaws. There's place for potting up plants. There's wood stored. There's a fire area. There's garden tools.
Hmm.
Um, there's different things for different folks. And and then I I want to be welcoming, but I also want it not to have one bad apple ruin the barrel of apples. So
Hmm.
I'm also, I'm willing to say that that person or that behavior is not okay,
Hmm.
to be a part of this.
Hmm.
And I'm really kind of the boss of this, my little domain, but I'm welcoming and collaborative. And it's just
Hmm.
now it's 5 years in and it's kind of becoming a community.
Hmm. Yeah, I had a similar approach to my scientific work, and that's one of my motivating factors to get back to the synchrotron is that I put a lot of good I put a lot of effort in and was pretty open sharing scientific information and trying to collaborate with a lot of people, and I would often do it on social media. I would kind of post articles I'm reading, and because I had a lot of knowledge about it, I was sort of sharing it, and then it kind of created, it was Twitter at the time. It was, I had a
Hmm.
pretty big community of 100 people or so, kind of all chatting with each other. And there were
Hey,
experts at labs all around the world,
yeah.
and people were just sharing information and saying this. And I think it lowered the barrier of entry. So some people that
Mhm.
maybe didn't wouldn't normally have had access or could kind of read what we were seeing and enter in a little bit more easily. And so I
Mhm.
really like doing that and don't have that so much now. Partly Twitter changed and we haven't
Yeah.
really recreated it on Blue Sky. And I've also not had a job for a little while. And so, I mean, but that if I
Yeah.
did, I could be sharing this stuff again and kind of bringing people in and being a part of this
Yeah.
kind of
I,
community.
w- I wish that some young people would join our group so that,
Uh-huh.
or who are also interested in the stuff that I'm interested in native plants, but also could
Yeah.
help with the social media a little bit more because I'm
Uh-huh.
not super savvy with that and I'm not wanting to be on my phone or my computer that much. But some people like it, so it's good to
Yeah, if
have
you could find
people.
such younger people
Yeah.
that are doing it or just whoever, but that has that
Yeah.
experience and that likes taking videos. I mean, again, we can go
Mhm.
back to the Project Camp that we mentioned the
Exactly.
last
Right.
time. They've really done an amazing job of kind of
Right.
showing videos and you can feel the community growing that lives there, but then they also
Right.
kind of manage an online community so that there's a lot of
Exactly.
people wishing them well and making comments and sharing
Yeah.
knowledge and all this stuff.
Yeah. 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 So I do think that that has a role in, my community and my spreading the message about what we do and who we are and growing our community. It's not about like trying to, I don't know, get super big or super powerful, but networking
Right.
is important and we want to feel like we're part of a movement for positive change in the world and the area that I'm working in is with trees and native plants and soil and a little bit with people's gardens and things like that and
Right.
so
So yeah,
Yeah,
if you could show some videos and then connect to other places where people are doing similar things, and you could
right.
share information and get some
Yeah.
excitement and some
And
encouragement.
and then also video some of the stuff that we're doing and some of the
Right.
projects that we're doing and get um, people excited about that more. And
Yeah.
I can see the value in that. And I've done a tiny bit of that, but not very effectively. I haven't even posted some of the stuff. But
Yeah. What
anyway, I'm
about
feeling
there's a
like,
Fairfield Media Lab? Maybe you could get maybe one
yeah,
they could get involved in
yep.
potentially.
Yeah, if I could, I just haven't gotten involved. I've actually meant to, but you know, haven't. Too many things, too many
Hmm.
things going on. But I feel like we should kind of wind our talk down in the next couple minutes.
Yeah, one last thought on this that I just thought of is this sociocracy concept, which is
Okay.
kind of about having circles that your kind of local circle that deals with a certain thing, and then there's other circles, and then there's kind of in each circle there's a person that's focused on the internal circle, and then one person focused on connection to other circles. And so if like your business in in native plants is a Fairfield circle, you could
Right.
find another circle in Lincoln, Nebraska, or somewhere else, and
Okay.
then um, kind of find a way. So this could be potentially this new political structure that could develop around
Oh, yeah,
the
you were talking about
world.
political structures that maybe
Yeah,
are, uh, are what would we call it? I know some people call it a democracy or a,
governance or
but yeah, what I don't, yeah, our three branch uh, government, federal, state, local governments. It's become unwieldy, not that functional anymore. Most people think it's corrupt. Um, yeah, so yeah. Do we even need a government? Not that we can do much about it, but
right.
but
Anyway,
yeah,
yeah, that's
self-organization, I guess we should yeah, what I feel is that we should move to take care of ourselves better, but ourselves meaning not just me and my wife or family, but my community of people that I care about and I work with and I have kinship with and that kind of thing.
mm-hmm,
Economic benefit to each
mm-hmm,
other.
mm-hmm, right. So taking care of yourself, and then also maybe then networking with other
Networking,
communities
yeah.
and such.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic for me because I'm trying to do it better and I see it as super important for our long-term survival right now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, historically, government has done some important things in organizing education and science and roads and I mean, so much stuff. So if it's not easy to, if there's a new structure, then how
Yeah.
does the
Well,
infrastructure get
maybe
managed?
we can maybe if you have a particular idea about that, you can save it to next video because I think we should wrap up and not if you actually have a idea of what that kind of
Not really. No, I
structure
mean,
one
it's
might
just
be.
seems like it's there's a need for those ideas, so it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to look out for what people have been saying about this in this area.
Um, I what comes to mind when you say that is different views of nature. Like nature can teach us
Hmm.
in a way, and so there's so many different forms of nature that we can learn from, like cells in a body or raindrops
Mm-hmm.
in a river, or the way mushrooms extend the roots of trees and plants,
Mm-hmm.
all these
Mm-hmm.
different things, and it's mostly collaborative in nature where one part of nature feeds another part or helps out, exchanges materials. There's
Mm.
different forms, but forms change. But yeah, anyway, I often think of nature as a metaphor and can find a way that I can be more successful by using those models.
Sounds great. Yeah, something to explore further. All right, we're at 1 hour for today, so
Okay, well
I don't know
that's
if
plenty. I
anyone's
think
going to want to watch this whole hour video, but
people probably will
people
be kind
sometimes
of
post
bored.
3 hour
Yeah.
conversations. So,
Well, I think we should get some good music. I got a friend that I was telling it about this, and we should get some good ambient music to it. I think it could make it somehow sit deeper in somebody's heart or mind or something like that.
all
All
right, I'm
right.
going to stop the recording. We can
Okay.
1, 2, 3.